Hello, and welcome to The Tiniest Spark, Executive Function from Theory to Reality. This podcast is designed to share information and strategies for educators and caregivers to encourage and support young learners to become more independent and successful. I'm your host, Rachel Ramsey, and today we will be talking about a positive mindset and how it starts with us. And if you remember, I told you I was going to be keeping it very real. Here I am in my Snoopy fleece bathrobe and my pajamas still, as it's all snowy out. So I figured this was a perfect time to do this. Our positive mindset, starting with us as adults. Have you ever noticed that you find what you're seeking? For example, if you start the day off and you think, oh my gosh, everything's going to go well today, then that's what you notice. You notice all those positive things, every green light that you hit, versus where you wake up and things just seem to not be going right. And you just say, today is going to be rotten. And you notice that jerk who cuts you off, or the red lights that you hit, or the extra meeting that gets thrown your way. What we look for is what we find. And there's actually a lot of research that goes along with that. In addition to that, I came across during my own research, Barbara Fredrickson is a researcher, and her theory of Broaden and Build theory of positive emotions. And what this theory is saying is that whenever we learn something in a positive mindset, in a positive framework, versus being in a neutral or a negative framework, we actually can transfer those skills into other situations and other settings. And that was a really powerful set of research for me to read. And thinking about that, if we can come to things in a positive way and in a positive experience, all of those skills that we're learning in that positive experience, we can actually transfer to other situations, even without that same positive environment around us. We all crave positive feedback. And did you know that positive mindset can actually make it easier to access executive skills? It's true. If you think about it, a lot of us have executive skills, including young learners. It's just a matter of accessing what they have. So while a young learner's executive skills aren't going to be completely developed yet, that doesn't mean they don't have any. However, if you're in a stressed environment, it's going to be really challenging for you to access them. And the same is true for a young learner. In fact, they're at even more of a disadvantage in those types of settings because their skills aren't completely developed. So we want to find a way as adults to make sure that we're enabling young learners around us to access all of the skills that they already have, and hopefully give them some time to develop and practice some others. As adults, our mindset and the way that we frame things can be that tiniest spark to an amazing experience versus a miserable experience for a young learner. And that's a lot of power and pressure, especially when we're struggling on our own. However, it makes it, for me, a lot easier to kind of reframe my own thoughts and my own thinking. And I try to remember this quote that I heard from somewhere. I think it was from an actor, that while this is my 17th year in the 6th grade, the young learners that I'm with, this is their one time to be in the 6th grade. They're only going to get it once. And what can I do to make it the best 6th grade experience ever? For example, as a caregiver too, they're only going to get one 13th birthday or one first day of high school, or it's that first experience getting your driver's license. It's up to us to create a positive environment. And on days that I struggle, I'm still trying to be the best version that I can each day. And the kids recognize when I can tell that it's not my best version, but they also see that I'm still working to be my best version and trying to give them the best experience possible. And that positive environment does not necessarily equate to material things, but rather our emotions and our mindset and our time. We put our time where our priorities are. And I find that to be another really important quote for me to remember. At the beginning of each class that I have, I start with a positive mantra, and that's very important to me. And we explain at the beginning of the year why it is that I want them to reply back to me. So the quote that I always ask them is, "Are you ready?" And the response that I'm looking for is, "I am ready to learn and stretch my brain." And we talk about how even if they're not actually feeling it in their heart that they're ready, it's important to say it because what we tell ourselves matters. And if they tell themselves that they're going to be having a great day in class and they're going to be learning, their brain is already ready and primed for that positive experience. Remember what I said? We look for whatever we're planning on finding is what we're going to find. So here's some food for thought. Find something positive about what you're doing as an educator or a caregiver and celebrate it. Even if it feels like a small win, that tiniest spark counts. Also, take time to share in a little note in a backpack or talking in person to your young learners and celebrate their little and big wins. They need the same encouragement as we do when things go well and when they don't go as expected or as planned. That tiniest spark can create a shift in someone's thinking, and it can make all the difference. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend it with me, and I hope we can spend more time together. If you have questions you'd like to ask or comments or stories you'd like to share, we would love to hear them. You can reach out via Twitter or Instagram at TeenChangers12 or check us out on TeenChangers.com and YouTube. Be the light in your day on someone else's day, and look to find that light, especially when it feels like you are lost in the dark. Until next time, take care.